Dr. Bhutar, may he rest in peace, was also a very early on, advocate and speaker about this. He was on our show a few times. He famously had that CNN interview where this journalist, Drew Griffith, really came after him, in the way the mainstream does, catching him off guard and attacking him and trying to make him look stupid. And at one point he said to Dr. Bhutar, am I going to die from this? And of course, later he did die. And then of course, later Dr. Bhutar died. How do you remember him, and what do you make of all of those things that happened?
Oh, I was a friend of Rashid for, let me see, I knew about him, we knew each other, but when we first got together and we first really connected to become friends was back in 2004. So I've been a long-time friend of Rashid. We were always running into each other at conferences and traveling and things like that. So was always a bigger-than-life person, always very gregarious, and never afraid of anything. When he took on the North Carolina State Medical Board back, maybe 15 years ago, he stood up right in the room and like really basically threatened them, like he dared them to come after his license, because he would not take this lightly, and they were not going to do these things to him. So was always a bigger than life person. Very friendly, always wanted to help people, had a vision for things that he wanted to do. And I know he's sorely missed by a lot of people that either knew him as a doctor, that he was their physician, or just knew him from all of the podcasts and different things that he'd done. And a lot of people miss him. And he's definitely a missing voice in the continuation of our fight, definitely. And so when he passed, he said that he'd been poisoned. I just heard that through the rumor mill. So I don't know about that. I know that he had some congestive heart failure going on. And so he, and then just dropped over dead suddenly. And he absolutely was not jabbed. He was one of the biggest people speaking out against it. So it was just a very sad occurrence and a very big loss for humanity, and for those of us that are freedom fighters that are fighting against particularly the powers that be that have come along now. I can only imagine what Rashid would have been doing if against the World Health Organization and the WEF, and where he would have been positioning his voice at that point in time.
Yeah, I remember it was bigger than life when he came on with us, and it really went straight for the throat, and he was just a great big personality, no fear. And I remember when he passed as well, it was just all very strange, because I know he had just been on a Zoom call a few days earlier. And then also the media didn't cover it, which I thought was very, very strange. I think the only one really covering it, was Bobby Kennedy's Children's, Health Defense website or something. It was almost like ignored, which also I thought was really suspicious that the mainstream media just did that. And so, I just kind of want to honor everything that he did. He actually did an episode with us where he called me up and he said, Brian, he's like, there's so many doctors that feel this way, but like they don't want to come out. Let's do a 100 doctor roundtable Zoom call, and we'll get them all on there. That. And they can give thumbs up if they agree with what I'm saying. And I was like, my reaction was, yeah, let's do it. And so we set up all the tech, and we got all these doctors on the Zoom call. There was like 50 of them there. And it was just really interesting, because he would kind of talk about these things, and you'd see all of these doctors agree and put their thumbs up. And, it was a way, I think, for doctors to kind of semi-anonymously show that there were a lot of people out there that were thinking the same way, when in fact, very few, such as yourself and Dr. Bhutar, et cetera, were willing to put their own head out. But it was his way of just trying to show the world that it wasn't 5 people or 10 people, that a lot of people had questions, but maybe they couldn't speak or were uncomfortable. So yeah, it's just something I really remembered that he made happen.
We actually made a t-shirt out of this, actually, because somebody started it when the disinformation dozen came out, and they were talking about that, there was a hashtag that came out that's hashtag greater than 12, that there were more than 12 people. There were thousands, hundreds of doctors and literally thousands and thousands of people. And we should give a shout out to the people that stood up for what they believed in spite of their bosses, their family members, their children, all those different things. And they just said no, and they stood their ground. And like what you said, when you walk through the streets of Dubai and people say, thank you for what you did, I get a fair amount of that too. And to me, it was just what I was just doing. It's just, I didn't do it for any gratuitous reasons other than it was just important for people to know so they could decide whether or not they were going to succumb to the propaganda.
Hey, I know investing in crypto is scary. It takes a real leap of faith because there are so many scams, rug pulls, and bad actors out there. It's a dangerous business, which is why 95% of people lose all their money. Well, that's why I created the London Real Investment Club, so you can access the hottest deals on the planet and use the crypto bull market to create the generational wealth that you deserve. Join my team of over 100 people from around the world that are making millions of dollars behind the scenes investing in blockchain, AI, Web3 games, DeFi, Bitcoin, and more. Don't miss out. Click the link below to book a call with one of my team now. But hurry, this bull market will end soon.
I know investing in crypto can be scary. That's why you gotta join the investment club. Pull the trigger. Let's do this.